Hello, my name is Paige Castelhano. I'm a senior at Boston University, and I'm not currently on campus because I'm doing a Disney College program, but I still wanted to share my field school experience this summer with Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Um, and yeah, so this picture is all of the field school participants plus some of our local helpers and the instructors. And I'm in the gray shirt. So some of the program logistics and what our goals were. This was a 6-week program from the 26th of June to the 7th of August. It accumulated to about 300 hours of work. And it was the third year that the Defense Prisoner of War Missing in Action Accounting Agency did this particular mission in Baden-Württemberg, Germany, which is southwest Germany. The particular site that we were looking at was the Fuddy Duddy crash site. That was the nickname of the B-17G aircraft. And the professor that ran it did say that this summer is most likely going to be the same site, the same mission, based on what we've found so far. So we were looking to recover the human remains and diagnostic personal effects of 3 missing pilot, gunner, and engineer who are in this newspaper clipping. And we worked mainly in 2 teams, which rotated bi-weekly, led by our 2 TAs, and there were also some special tasks that I'll discuss. I found this opportunity on the Archaeological Institute of America and then applied on IUP's website. There is some confidentiality because our findings aren't completely processed and confirmed, and the DPAA would rather not get anybody's hopes up, such as descendants of the missing people, before anything is confirmed. Hopefully within a year we will know. So for the costs and financial credits that I received, there is a visiting student fee for non-IUP students. Then they also have their study abroad application fee. Then program fees, which included our tuition for the 6 weeks, housing, which was a very nice hotel or guest house, any domestic transportation in Germany, our laundry, which was done for us, and breakfast and workday lunches. Then we had to find insurance for health and emergency evacuation, our airfare, and then if we wanted an international phone plan. For the credits that I received, IEP gave us a meal stipend for all of our dinners and then weekend lunches, since those were meals we had to get ourselves and we weren't having all together. The BU Archaeology department gave me a grant, and then I applied for a ton of others and was able to get a little bit more from outside grants. So then the net cost for me was $2,388.70. However, anything with an asterisk was not a fixed price. It was something I had to research and purchase myself outside of the school costs. So the meal stipend actually ended up being way more than what I needed for meals, and I know it was the case for almost everybody, if not everybody else. So I didn't have to pay anything outside of that money that we were granted while in Germany, except for excursions for our hostels and hotels. Those are the only times that I had to pay for anything, including souvenirs or any grocery shopping or medical things, like sunscreen, little things like that. Any of that came out of my stipend, which was really great. Yeah. So then for our schedules during work days, we got up to leave for 7 a.m. and as long as we left on time, we pretty much always got there 7:19 in the field, which was just the woods next to the town that we were staying in. Then we unloaded our Bicon, which is the storage container that the DPAA provides with all of our supplies. We stocked the porta potties, and the TAs assigned us our first tasks. Then we would rotate those tasks every hour until our 45-minute lunch break. And we had a lunch crew to set that up and clean that up. And then we'd continue on our rotations. The last one was only 30 minutes, so usually it would just be a continuation of what we were doing for the hour before, but with a break in between. And then at 3:30, we started cleaning up, reloading all of our supplies, and then checking the porta potties again, making sure we have everything for the next day. And so these are some of my Write in the Rain notes. I very professionally redacted any indicating coordinates or artifact findings that I can't share yet. Then in the second picture, we have some GPR notes. So like at this line, we had to do a reversal because there's a giant tree in the way, blah, blah, blah. And the third picture shows some scarring from the actual plane crash, hitting some of the trees that were already there and creating these scratches all down. So our hourly tasks that we regularly did were excavating, as you can see here. I'm in the red on the left picture, running buckets full of the soil that we excavated, then screening those buckets, measuring depths to make sure we had an even level, doing Munsell profiles, as you can see in the second picture. Third picture is some screens. Then drawing our both the profile, so like the stratigraphy, and then an aerial view. Sorry. Cleaning our artifacts once we finished a level, and then taking photos of the artifacts and the unit. And then we took notes during all of our breaks. Then team tasks, which switched weekly, were lunch and water cooler like duty or toy maintenance, so porta potty maintenance. They're all really easy since there were 6 or 7 of us on each team. The work was really light for that, and you just check on things like once a day. Let the TAs know what we need more of, and sometimes we'd go to the grocery store and get more of whatever supplies we needed. And then our special tasks included total station measuring. So here I am holding a rod, the stadia rod, but basically marking any new units on our grid and making sure they were exact, not offset at all. Then we also did GPR for 2 weeks with a specialist that came in. We excavated under some tree stumps from trees that were planted after the crash and then cleared down. So those are like unusual types of units basically, and that's why they were special tasks. Then we did metal detecting, which was super fun, and photogrammetry of certain units that had interesting features in them, and then processing those photogrammetries after. Then our last week was a little unusual for our tasks. We experimented with some topsoil only transects to see if we could reach a sterile layer within just the topsoil. So like if we could reach a time before the incident in just the topsoil. Then we did judgmental shovel test pits. So those were like little tiny 50 centimeter wide units instead of our 2x4 meter units. Based on what we had learned and observed over the first 5 weeks, where we individually thought a good place to put a unit would be, and then we worked with a partner and excavated just 20 centimeters below the surface in each of those. That's what those notes are right there, unfortunately redacted again. Then we had our backfill days, and you can see in the second picture a nice arm wrestle over one of our huge backfilled areas. And then we also had to clean and restock all of our supplies in the Bicon, which was not fun. Then in our free time, we did lots of excursions, exploring, and all kinds of fun stuff. Our first weekend was mostly just relaxing, adjusting to the time change, and figuring out like what was in the town around us. The second weekend happened to be the 1250th anniversary of the town we were staying in, which was super cool. So that's a picture of us with our free beer and the Beermeister. Um, then the day after, we went to Heidelberg, where there's the castle, Heidelbergensis, not the actual job, but a cast of it, and then just the city of Heidelberg. Oop. Then third weekend, we went to a club. We went to the community pool, which was super nice, and Odenwald, which was only about 10 minutes of a drive away, and that has Roman forts and bath ruins. So the three pictures on the right. And then the fourth weekend, we visited Nuremberg, saw museums, some of the rally grounds, and World War II era buildings, and then the courthouse for the Nuremberg trials. Then the fifth weekend, we went to Baden-Baden, which translates to bath. It has Roman bathhouses and then like modern ones as well, which we went to. Then we also went to the Black Forest the day after. So that's the first picture, Baden-Baden, second, third are the Black Forest. And the Black Forest cake up at the top, and then a lake in the Black Forest. And then we went on a little cave tour on the sixth weekend, which is those stalactites. They called that the wedding cake. And unfortunately, we did have to work on a Sunday because the Wednesday before was like super muddy and rained out. Usually we did get to work in the rain, but that day it was just like so slippery, and we were on an incline, so it was just like impossible to see anything, and it was a little bit of a mess. So we just had to make up those hours. It was not a big deal. And there was also a little shopping festival in our host city that weekend. So our last weekend, we went to the Alps, specifically Garmisch-Partenkirchen, where the 1930s something Olympics were, Winter Olympics. So we got to see those grounds. We got to see the Zugspitze, which is the highest point in Germany, and a gorge that was really cool and wet. And then we went to Munich for the airport so we could all fly home. And then on weeknights, we did some fun little trivias, grocery store trips for our lunches, went to the park and went to the mall. And yeah, that's it. I hope I've interested somebody in going to this field school because it was super, super fun and super interesting and taught me a lot about like what I would like to do in the future with archaeology.